lucky enough to see the original Diarmuid Gráinne production in the Thaibhearc. Really enjoyed the physicality and the madness, but also the fact that Paul Mercier himself has that understanding of the language and an interest in sort of the cultural and mythology side of the story, and has really researched it and the characters and the impossibilities that go with that, and then presenting it in such a contemporary setting.
This is Paul Mercier.
Hello, my name is Paul Mercier.
He's an award-winning filmmaker and playwright. He's made movies with the likes of Brendan Gleeson, Liam Cunningham and Aidan Gillen. He's also the co-creator and director of T.G. Carr's Afric.
Right, go on now, John, go on. Diarmuid Gráinne, this particular production or play, Diarmuid Gráinne, is based on the original myth. It's a very dramatic story, and I feel it still speaks to today. I think it can be a very contemporary story. I think there's many elements in it that have lasted all these years. Particularly, it's a love story, but it's also a story about power and betrayal and treachery. And these are themes that I think are very much at play today. I didn't want it just to become a children's story or become a bowdlerized or truncated story that was used just to, in some way, become part of a series of little folk tales about our kind of mystical past or our culture, and it's not really about that for me. For me, it's a very important story, and I always felt it had the same power as a Greek myth, and has a way of saying something about the human condition and about the way we are and how we deal with life and about life in the same way as a Greek myth can. But it is essentially the same story. It is the story of two young people who come together in circumstances that are extraordinary. Those circumstances still exist in the play, and what becomes of these two people is the same as what became of them in the mythology. When you flesh out characters, there are realities, there are implications, you have to follow through. I mean, for every action there's a reaction. For everything you do, for every choice you make, there's a decision you make. There is something is going to happen. It's going to be a fallout. So rather just in all these myths and mythologies, you don't question it. It happens, and if you don't know why it happens, the gods said it happens. The gods have decided it's going to happen, and that's the end of it. So you believe that because that's what people believe, and that's the way it works. In our case, there are no gods. There is no magic. So it has to work as people. So it's a social thing. It's a political thing. It's a personality thing. It's the emotion of it. That's the difference. That's what happens to you. So that took the work. That's where the real work went. That's why it was difficult. I had to follow it through, but also follow it through while trying to stay faithful to the original story, which in a way is kind of its premise is often it's based on things that cannot be explained. Simply cannot be explained. You just take their word for it. You go with it. Why did he do that? Well, he did it because he was told, or because why? Because there's a rule, or there's a law that says that this has to happen. You don't touch that. You don't do that because it's a superstition. Everything, you just have to believe it. But there's no superstitions in this story. There is just reality, but that's the point. All I'm saying is that it's still the same myth, as far as I'm concerned. Still the same myth. Still the same story. It's just trying to make it work for people now who engage with stories on a much more psychological, emotional, and in a different way. We just deal with these stories in a different way.